Okay, hi, this is Mr. Vogt, and we're here with Hunter and Daniel. We're going to be doing a podcast debate on the issue of waiting periods to purchase firearms. They've both prepared some questions, and what we'll do is we'll go through each of their arguments and they'll have a little bit of a chance to have some discussion. So, Daniel, you mentioned in your article that mass shootings have been on the rise and that current background checks aren't strong enough.
Yep.
Could you explain a little bit of that, and then Hunter, you'll have a chance to respond.
Well, what I was kind of saying is that, if you could take any step to make it harder for somebody who shouldn't purchase a gun, who's not fit to have a gun, make it harder for them to get a gun, why wouldn't you? I mean, is it really a problem to wait maybe a day longer if that's going to save lives in the long run? That was my whole point.
Well, the thing is, our gun control has been more like now. There's much more regulations on guns we can buy than maybe like 100 years ago. So I
Well,
don't get
I
the
mean,
point of increasing our
if
gun
you're going,
control.
if you're going to
That's not
compare
even
things,
helping when
Daniel, let him finish.
if there's more mass shootings now and we have more gun regulation. That doesn't really seem to make sense, does it?
Yes, it does, because if you first of all, you can't compare things to 100 years ago. Everything was different 100 years ago.
I know.
So
Yeah,
and
as-
no, second, mainly let me finish. All right, second, you're talking about how it's not going to help and people can just buy guns illegally. Well, yes, of course they can, but the thing is that if someone knows that their past or something that they've done is and they're planning on using the gun for harm is going to come up in a background check when purchasing a firearm, that is going to discourage them from buying the firearm because
legally.
some people don't. Some people might discourage them because they're like, well, I don't want to try buying it on the black market because that could be dangerous, and I don't want to purchase it legally because I'm never going to get away with it, and that could discourage people from doing harm with firearms.
Well, there are some crazy people in the world that that's sometimes their goal, and they think whatever they can do to harm people in their crazy world that they live in, if they can, however they can accomplish that goal, they will do that. And I don't think there's a good way to stop those people that they don't care what the U.S.
Look,
laws think
I'm
about
not.
it.
I'm
But and those are the people that we're trying to stop, not just our common day like me and you. That's
well. First
we're-
of all, accommodate me and you probably wouldn't commit a mass
yeah,
shooting. So,
yeah.
but
the crazy people
but
would,
the
and that's
point,
the people we have to try and stop.
excuse me. The point is, all right. Look, you're saying we have to try and stop, but it's like, if you look at like the shooter of the Sikh temple, I wouldn't say that he was mentally insane. He just had very bad politics that aren't
Yeah.
accepted by our society. That's the kind of people that this thing would stop, because a better background check would have caught that he was a member of that Nazi hate organization or band. And the point is that this my goal in better background checks would not to be to stop 100% of shootings. You're never going to be able to do that.
I know. So,
But it will stop shootings like the Sikh temple shooting, where that guy should have never been able to buy a
well,
firearm.
another way you could.
Hunter, we'll get back. I want to get to your points in just a second. Daniel, I just want to circle back to one point you made was about the gun show loophole, and then we'll get to Hunter some of your arguments.
All right. Well, the gun show loophole, basically what it is that the United States laws say that you have to have a background check when buying a gun, but if you declare yourself a private seller and sell guns at a gun show, you don't have to get a background check to sell the gun. And I would like to close this loophole because then it would make it impossible for someone to get a gun without legally get a gun, I should say, without having proper background checks done on them.
Aren't you talking about the seller not having a background check?
No, I'm talking about what the sellers would have to do is they would have to run a background check on the buyer before the transaction could take place.
Okay.
So Hunter, just to make sure, in the interest of time, we can get everything in. A couple points you made. One was about the black market and different ways to obtain guns. Do you want to talk about your argument there?
Well, the black market, you can buy just about anything. Like, you could actually buy human body parts, exotic animals. If you wanted, like, a little monkey from India, you buy one there. And, well, in our sense of debate, you can buy guns and even bombs on the black market. So, and really, the black market, their background check is if you have enough money, you can buy the gun or whatever you want. How is a background check from a legal that's going to be implied on a legal gun store going to affect buying a gun on the black market where the laws are ignored every time?
Well, first of all, it's not. But I addressed this earlier. This is not to stop 100% shootings. This is to stop people that don't have the connections or don't have the resources or are too scared to go to the black market, but they want to do harm with a weapon, so they try and buy it legally.
Well, if they wanted to do harm with a weapon, why would they be scared? They're doing something illegal anyways. It's why try and
Yes, but
purchase a gun legally just to commit an
purchasing
illegal
if,
crime.
if they don't have the resources to buy an item on the black market or the connections or they're scared that something will happen to them and they won't get to carry out what they want to do, then that could discourage them from buying a gun on the black market, and then their only way would to be to purchase it legally. And if they purchased it legally and there were strong background checks, they wouldn't be able to do anything.
But what if there was nothing to? What if the background check wouldn't notice anything? Like they weren't part of any hate gang or anything. They didn't commit any crimes that
What
would
if?
suggest.
What if? You can say a lot of what ifs, but the point is that in the end, it could potentially save lives. And I think that waiting longer for a gun or paying a little bit more for a stronger background check is a really extremely cheap price to pay for even potentially saving lives.
Now, Hunter, this is a good transition to another point you made was about other ways to get guns without a waiting period, like through family members. Can
Yeah.
you expand on that? I think it's a good transition
Yeah.
to what you guys are discussing.
Well, with the Sandy Hook shooting, he actually went to his mom. Apparently killed her. I didn't look into much, but they were from the house. They already had those guns. Those weren't taken away or anything. He already had those guns coming in. He probably purchased them like earlier, or someone
I believe
purchased
she
it
was
early.
the owner because I read quite a bit on that. My argument for this is that the Sandy Hook shooting is the exception. It's like there are always the shootings that you can't stop. But I would keep on saying that my point is that there are ones like that Sikh temple shooting you can't stop, and people died in that. And you know what? If stronger background checks would have stopped it, which the way things look, it would have. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Why would you be that selfish to say, oh, I have to wait a day longer, I have to pay a couple dollars more to get a stronger background checks, and even if it is going to save some lives, even if it saved one life, it'd be worth it. Even if it's going to save some lives, hell, I can't pay that. So
Daniel,
I think that's ridiculous and selfish.
I think it's a great final statement. Just so we make sure we can get to lunch here, Hunter, do you have a final statement, and then we'll end on that?
Well, with just waiting a little while longer is not going to help that many people. It's because there's always going to be someone there's going to be tons of people who are going to commit these crimes who are not going to care about the laws, and those are the people that we have to focus on, not people like me and you who can just legally buy a gun and there's nothing that's going to really stop us from buying a gun legally. It's the people that
Stronger background checks would.
Let him finish.
That with these people who really don't care about our laws, what we think, they're just like they're in a little world that they have to do this. Those are the people that we have to stop, and it might be hard to stop them, but that's what we have to focus on, not the common people.
Okay, I think what we're gonna do just to make sure Daniel we can get this in, we're gonna post this on KidBlog, and then if you both want to add to your whatever you didn't get to say in this, just add it to your editorial, and we'll post that so whoever's reading this can both listen to this and then they can hear maybe your reaction to the debate. Anything you didn't get out, you can put in your article.
All right.
Sound good? All right. Thank you for listening very much, and hope you enjoyed the topic on waiting periods for guns.